It's very important to remember how young these people were who perished in this fire 102 years ago today. Bought a new hat with my wages from the triangle. Home for fire. Tonight I was to go dancing.
You know, the fire occurred over 100 years ago, and it was a terrible tragedy that occurred in New York, but something good came out of that tragedy. There was change. When you commemorate something like this, always remember that lives were lost. And the best way to remember those lives is to look around, and you'll see the names of the individuals whose lives were lost. You'll also see pictures of the individuals whose lives were lost. And if you walk over here, you'll see little marks on that sidewalk that also commemorate the individuals whose lives were lost. Out of that loss came change. Behind me are people who make that change occur in New York year after year, day after day. They are the labor standards people of the Department of Labor who make sure that the tragedy that occurred 100 years ago will never occur again in the state of New York. So out of tragedy came change, and the change is a visible and a physical change. Every year we find and we collect millions of dollars on individuals and organizations that break the law.
And Edgar mentioned that I identify with exactly what happened here, because when my family first immigrated to New York from Taiwan, my mom spent many years in a garment factory, in a sweatshop, because there were conditions that were illegal. She worked so hard so that her kids, me and my two brothers, would never go hungry or cold or without a roof over our heads. And that's the kind of struggle that so many immigrant women throughout the generations have experienced right here in New York. It was their way to pursue the American dream, and many of them were able to achieve it, but many still have not. And so today, more than 100 years later, we still have to keep in mind that the struggle continues. The struggle to increase the minimum wage once and for all so that we can uplift the working poor. The struggle to enact paid sick leave here in the city of New York so that workers, mostly women, many of whom are immigrant, can stay home if they are not feeling well.
It's very simple what took place after the Triangle Fire. And the reality is the following. Worker protections and safety and health laws on the job save lives. We know that. We know the details, the horrible details which took place in this building, and we see it unfortunately occurring around the world today. No mention of the Bangladesh fires, and we see it occurring in other places around the world. And as the attack on working people continues, and their ranks go down of protections for workers throughout the world, now more than ever we have to be vigilant, and we have to redouble our efforts in advocating for working people in safety and health laws throughout this country.